Hello everyone, welcome to Teachopedia. In today's video, we will be exploring Raspberry Pi 4. I will be sharing some key tools that will help us in setting up Raspberry Pi 4. So let's get started. As you can see, I have opened a screen in which we can find all the information of Raspberry Pi 4. As you can see in the image, that's how Raspberry Pi 4 looks like. We have different options like USB 2 cable. We can insert Ethernet cable here. We can insert HDMI cable. In these two ports, we will be needing Type C cable to enable or to start Raspberry Pi 4. We also have an option to connect our sensors with these pins. Also, we have a memory card which will be inserted at the bottom of the Raspberry Pi 4. So we have a couple of different options, like it has a silent, energy efficient, its networking is fast. We have a choice in RAM. We have 2 GB, 4 GB and 8 GB available in Raspberry Pi 4. We have an option of USB 3, Type C cable and USB 2 ports as well. So we have different options in this Pi module. To start with, we will be needing an hardware of Raspberry Pi 4, an SD card and a Type C cable. For the software part, we will be needing Raspberry Pi imager and an SD card formatter. Raspberry Pi imager will embed OS into our SD card, and the SD card format will format our SD card. So we will be download the image of our Raspberry Pi OS. You can download in NOOBS or Ubuntu. So I will recommend you to download from this Raspberry Pi OS with desktop and recommended software. It has all the options and availability in this image. You will be downloading a zip file in this. For the imager, you can download Raspberry Pi imager from here. I will share this URL so that you can download all the necessary tools and information. For the SD card formatter, I will share the URL of this website, and you can download from here based on your operating system and Windows.
So just start the formatting by right clicking on that drive and just do the format option and just start this format. It will take some time, but after that format complete, our drive is clean and we can easily see that it's empty. After formatting your drive or SD card, choose the open the Raspberry Pi imager and then choose OS, and for the OS part use custom, and you can find your, after extraction your zip file, you can find your image which is like this, and you can just select that. And for the SD card you need to select your drive and just write it yes, and it will embed and write your OS into that SD card, and then that SD card will be plugged into Raspberry Pi. After extracting and embedding your Raspberry Pi OS image into your SD card, you will find that we have a list of files in D drive in my case, or in your case it will be as SD card drive. So there are multiple files which will help us in accessing Raspberry Pi. So to extract and to take out our SD card, we need to create two files before that. One is SSH, that will help us in configuring Raspberry Pi, and the other one is WPA supplicant. Remember that this file will be useful if you need to automatically enable your network and enable your network connectivity with your Raspberry Pi. So go into new file and create a new file, named it as WPA supplicant.conf. Remove the .txt. It will ask you, so you will say yes and then edit this file and just paste this code in which you will be mentioning your country to keyword name. In my case it was Pakistan, so it is PK, and your SSID and password, your network name and your password. So after this you need to create another file called SSH and just remove the .txt and just leave it as empty, because it will automatically connect with our SSH tool, and after that we can configure Raspberry Pi.
So after configuring SD card and turning on your Raspberry Pi, which will automatically connect it to your network, and you can find its IP in your network configuration of your router or your router hub. So I will get my IP of my Raspberry Pi, and I'm opening PuTTY tool, which will provide us with command line interface through which we will be configuring our Raspberry Pi. So I will be mentioning my Raspberry Pi IP here and connect with it. So as you connect your Raspberry Pi with PuTTY or PuTTY with Raspberry Pi IP, you will be asked to log in and give a password. So for the first time, you can write Pi as a login, and password you can use Raspberry. So after logging in, I am now able to configure Raspberry Pi through command line terminal of PuTTY. So we will be using sudo raspi config. In this screen, you will have to enable some configuration like SSH. So I will enable that, and for the another part we will be using VNC server. If you don't have any external screen, so you can use VNC server. So after that I will open my VNC viewer and try to connect with my Raspberry Pi. So I will be giving as input, and as you can see, I can see Raspberry Pi desktop on my laptop screen through VNC server. So that's how you can configure Raspberry Pi and start working on it. That's it for today. Thank you so much. Take care. Goodbye.